Every now and then you see those knockouts where you just be thinking like, damn, yo, this fucking boxing sport need to fucking end. I mean, I'm hoping that he's okay. Let me tell you, this video is real time. Obviously, it's live and uncut, but I've been rewinding it probably about the last half an hour or so because I had fell asleep. I remember waking up and I saw both of them in the ring because that Gamboa Alvarado fight put me to sleep. So then I woke up to Jim Lampley screaming and Roy Jones, and I see Curtis Stevens just laying there knocked the fuck out. It's good. He's up. He's awake. He's being taken out on the stretcher. Yo, he got knocked the fuck out. It was a exchange of left. It was exchange of hooks in the third round. Now already, I think if you watch David Lemieux fights, you should know that I'm watching like the updates and shit. You should know that he's a pressure fighter. That he's very dangerous early on, and if you don't have something to keep him off of you, then you're going to be in for a pretty rough night because he's somewhat kind of like Sean Porter a little bit, except he doesn't smother his punches as much. And he's much more, I'm not going to say much more, he is an accurate puncher. But I feel sorry for Curtis Stevens. His birthday was yesterday. These guys have been going back and forth on social media for several months now talking all this shit. And David Lemieux at one point in time took it to the streets on him and said, yo, son, if I fight you, I don't even make enough to pay my bills. Shit like that. I mean, feed my kids. And now David Lemieux he's got some underling WBO title. And now he's going after Gennady Golovkin in a rematch. Will that rematch ever happen? We'll have to wait and see because he's already looking like he's having some trouble fighting at 160 pounds. But I can't say that he had no trouble in the ring. Because the way he knocked Curtis Stevens the fuck out, that shit was scary. He knocked dude the fuck out. But see, once again, as I said, Curtis Stevens is not he's short. He's about 5'6". He's very, very short for the 160 pound division. Punch variety is low, and he doesn't have a jab like Golovkin had to keep David Lemieux off of him. And David Lemieux just was literally going right at him. So when you look at the punch stats, 67 of 120 thrown for David Lemieux, 32 of 82 for Curtis Stevens. Right there, the activity, and as you can see, was 56%. So that shit was crazy. Now, Curtis Stevens is no stranger to losing in his career. As you know, he lost to Golovkin. He lost to Hassan N'Dam. Of course, now let's hear what Lemieux has to say.
And scariest one-punch knockouts I've ever seen, to tell you the truth. Tell me about it.
I told you before I did it. I told you what I was going to do tonight, and I did it. I hope he's healthy and everything goes good.
What do you see here? We're replaying it right here.
I see checkmate. It's a perfect connection, and it's been what we've been practicing for and what we've been looking for to do.
Physically, to be candid, you did not look as cut up as you sometimes do before the fight. You looked like you were heavier, like not in the best shape of your career, and he started to seem to give you some problems in the second round before that one-punch shot. Were you in the best shape?
Absolutely. I was in very great shape. Actually, the reason I slowed down was because my trainer was telling me to relax and find the openings and pick your shots properly instead of wasting your shots for nothing. So we paced it ourselves, and as the openings came, we took him. I was in great shape. Actually, I had a great camp leading up to this fight, and like I said, we have big plans ahead.
Did you feel his power at all when he was coming on in that second round?
Yeah, he's a strong guy. He's a physically strong guy, but nothing impressive. Nothing that slowed me down, as you saw.
That was such an impressive display of one-punch knockout power. Do you think it puts you right back in the mix?
Well, I told you guys where I was going to be, and I said it, and I did it, and I guess you guys tell me if you think I should be back in the pick. I think the fans want to see great fights, and I have great fights to give. Whenever I come out, I give the fans my heart out on the ring, and you always see the 100% of me. Stevens was a solid fighter, We trained very well for him. And we came to do what we needed to do, and we did. We were successful.
Assuming that this is not enough to get you the fight you really want, which is to avenge the defeat to Triple G yet, who else is out there that you would be interested in facing coming up?
Of course, we want to face the best fighters out there. Definitely, whatever name is up there, I want to face them. There's Saunders, who has the title. There's Canelo, that we've been talking about a lot. Canelo is a solid fighter, a great fighter. And for sure, there's the Kingpin, Golovkin, that for sure I would love to defeat.
Congratulations, David. That was like a Julian Jackson-esque knockout. That was truly a memorable one. And, of course, we all hope that Curtis Stevens is okay. Jim?
One thing to note is that, as I said, Curtis Stevens did, when they had him on the stretcher pulling him out the ring, Kathy Duva, his promoter, came up to him to check and see if it was all right. He checked and looked up at his gloves, was like, yo, take my gloves off. So basically, like, he's all right. But still, goddamn, he got knocked the fuck out. But that's the sport we watch, man. That's the sport we love, man. Seeing motherfuckers get beat the fuck up like that. And like I said, the main keys was he didn't have anything to keep David Lemieux off of him. And David Lemieux just literally used his will. And also, you could tell that David Lemieux was the faster of the two, even though David Lemieux was the bigger of the two. David Lemieux came in, what is David Lemieux, about 5'9", 5'10". He came in 177 pounds. And you had Curtis Stevens, who's about 5'6", that came in about 170 pounds. So in hindsight and somewhat in reality, we should have known that David Lemieux, well, I think everybody did to a certain extent know that David Lemieux was the favorite. We looked at his loss against Golovkin, but once again, Golovkin beat both of these guys, and Golovkin is levels above these guys. So with David Lemieux's style, what we've seen is that you have to have a jab, and also with his body physique, and we've seen in the past where he quit against Marco Antonio Rubio, for crying out loud, that if you take him into the middle of the fight, he slows down. Curtis Stevens couldn't get that far. Third round knockout, brutal knockout of the year by far. He was asleep. He was asleep. And you had his mom sitting there not knowing what to do, and the poor guy's birthday was yesterday. But anyway, bad look for Brownsville, man. Bad looks for Brownsville, especially with Danny Jacobs fighting next week. And I know Danny Jacobs had to be watching this fight to support his homie. Whew. It is what it is. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe. On links to my social media right down below in the description box.